When trying to create interesting text effects in Illustrator, you may want to take a look at the ability to warp text in different ways. Illustrator provides plenty of options to choose from. Let's explore some of them. I'm going to go ahead and begin with the warp.ai file already open on my computer. And I just have some text on this artboard that I'm going to use to demonstrate the warp features. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this text with my selection tool. And an easy way to access some of the warp features is right up here in your control panel. You'll notice that right here you have an icon that allows me to choose between two of the more common warp options. Now, what you see up here does depend on the resolution of your monitor, so if for some reason you don't see that, you can also access it by going to the Object menu, Envelope Distort, and you can see that we have both of these options right here. So I'm going to start by clicking on this button to open up the warp options. And you can see that in this dialog box, we have a lot of options to choose from. You want to make sure you have your preview turned on so you can see what this is looking like. Now, you can see that we have a lot of options to choose from. It begins with arc and then goes even down to fisheye, squeeze, any number of options for you to choose from. Now I'm going to start with the flag here. And you can see that regardless of which option you choose here, you can distort it in various ways depending on which option you have chosen. So, for example, we can distort it vertically, depending on the artwork that you have, or I should say the text that you have, or horizontally. You can change the bend. We can bend it in a different direction if we want to. We can even change the distortion if you want more or less distortion in one way or the other. And then when you're happy with this, you can go ahead and click OK. Now, once you've created this, it's creating essentially what's referred to as an envelope distort. And so the envelope is kind of the shape that you're distorting the text into, and the contents is, well, the text. And you'll notice in your control panel, as long as you have this selected, you've got two options up here, one to edit the envelope and one to edit the contents. So if, for example, I click on the Edit Contents, now I can actually come down here and double-click to select the text. Maybe I'll just change this text. There we go. And if I go back to my selection tool and double-click to exit out of here, I still have the same look and feel with different content. Now, if I want to go back to the envelope, I just click on this button, and now I'm looking at the envelope itself. You'll notice I can still adjust all of the options up here, and I can even change which envelope is being applied. So you have different effects that can be chosen here. We'll go with a wave or something like that. So I'll just reposition this so we can see this. Now, in addition, you can manually edit the envelope. So for example, if I grab my direct selection tool, I can click on any of these anchor points and adjust it manually. So regardless of what type of look I'm going for, I can edit these. I can use the handles to distort it in various ways. And still have the ability, if I go back to my selection tool and I click on this, have the ability to change the effect as well as the properties. Now, I'm actually going to go ahead and revert this. So I'll just go to the File menu and choose Revert. That way we can kind of start over here. And the other type of effect we can apply, if you click on this drop down, is Make with Mesh. And Make with Mesh essentially allows you to create a very manual, very customized distortion. So maybe I'll increase my number of rows and columns to 5. If you turn your preview on, you can see what's going to happen to your text. So if we click OK, we can now see that we have this grid that we can use to modify the artwork. So again, using my direct selection tool, I can click on all these individual points and start distorting them in different ways. You can have a lot of fun with this and really customize the appearance of your content. So you have a lot of flexibility here. And same principle applies. Go back to your selection tool and click on this. You can edit the envelope versus the contents as well. So you can also come up here and click the button to reset the envelope shape, and you can start over. Now I'm going to revert this to the saved version one more time because there's one more option I want to show you. I'm going to go ahead and grab my star tool, and I'm just going to go ahead and click and drag to draw a star on top of this text. And that looks pretty good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both the text and the shape. And if we go to the Object menu, under Envelope Distort, I have another one called Make with Top Object. And if I choose that, it's now going to distort my text to that object, which is really cool and really a lot of fun to work with. You still have a lot of flexibility. You can edit the envelope versus the content, so I could still change my text if I wanted to. Let's go ahead and double click here, change this to warped text, and if I exit out of here, you can see that it just took the new text and warped it to the envelope that I had chosen. So as you can see, the text warp features offer plenty of choices to choose from that are bound to meet your most demanding needs.